Dwayne Holt.
Yeah? I just finished up at 214. HVAC check?
This is Dwayne Curtis Holt, a lead maintenance technician trusted with a master key to over 312 apartments. He doesn't realize it yet, but he just walked out of the last unit he will ever enter on the job.
It's on the work order.
We know about the work orders.
Then you know I'm supposed to be here. I worked here 9 years.
Set the toolbox down, Dwayne. Hands behind your back.
What is this?
You're under arrest.
On March 4th, 2025, Guilford County Sheriff's detectives executed simultaneous search warrants at Harborview Crossing Apartment Homes and at Dwayne Curtis Holt's residence on Randleman Road in Greensboro, less than 2 miles from the 312 units he had maintained for 9 years. What those warrants produced would support 47 separate federal and state counts: wire fraud, breaking and entering, and the interstate transportation of stolen property. 31 tenants, 19 months, $94,300 in missing property, and a paper trail he built himself, photograph by photograph, on the phone he kept in his back pocket every single day. But the story of how Dwayne Holt ended up at that dresser on a Tuesday afternoon, key in his hand, toolbox untouched on the kitchen floor, faucet still dripping, starts nearly a decade earlier in an apartment complex parking lot in Burlington, North Carolina, where he was making $8.50 an hour and believed, genuinely, that he was building something. Before we continue, have you ever had something go missing that you could never fully explain? Type yes or no in the comments. And if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, now is the time. We hold people in positions of trust accountable every single week. Dwayne Curtis Holt was born in 1983 in Burlington, North Carolina, Alamance County, mid-state, a town that shows up in economic reports as a case study in textile decline. His father, Cleo Holt, drove a furniture delivery route for the same regional company for 26 years. His mother, Gloria, worked the cafeteria line at Walter M. Williams High School on Sharp Road, the same school Dwayne would attend. He was the third of 4 children. The family rented a house off Trollinger Road. Cleo believed in fixing things himself and passed that belief down the way he passed down everything else, without ceremony, through repetition. By the time Dwayne was 12, he could patch drywall, swap a light switch, and clear a clogged drain without calling anyone. At 14, Dwayne rewired a ceiling fan his father had given up on. Cleo took a photograph with a disposable camera and showed it to everyone at his freight depot. "My boy's going to be an electrician." Dwayne graduated from Williams High in 2001 and enrolled that fall in a 1-semester HVAC certification program at Alamance Community College on Carmine Church Road. He didn't finish. 3 weeks in, Cleo herniated 2 discs on a delivery and missed 6 weeks of work. Dwayne picked up warehouse shifts to cover the gap, left the program 11 weeks in, 4 weeks from completing it, and told himself he'd re-enroll when things stabilized. He never did. He worked the warehouse through 2004, picked up landscaping work out of Graham, and by 2006 was taking handyman jobs through Craigslist, $10.50 an hour, cash, across Alamance and Guilford counties. Tile, water heaters, deck boards warped by 2 seasons of Carolina rain. He was methodical, and he understood systems, and the calls kept coming. In 2009, he applied for his first property management job, maintenance assistant at Brookfield Village Apartments off Maple Avenue in Burlington. Starting wage, $13.40 an hour. He changed light bulbs and cleared drains and answered work orders for broken blinds and faucets that wouldn't stop running. He didn't mind. He was good at it. Promoted to maintenance technician within 8 months. His supervisor, property manager Carol Pettis, wrote in his first formal review that he was self-directed, requires minimal supervision, and finishes assignments cleanly the first time. She noted one gap: documentation. Occasionally completes repairs before entering the work order. Should follow the paper trail more closely. He never followed the paper trail. In 2013, Harborview Property Group hired him as lead maintenance technician at their flagship complex, Harborview Crossing, on Bridford Parkway in southwest Greensboro. $42,500 a year, health benefits, a company truck, and a master key, a physical Medico key on a steel ring. that unlocked every one of the 312 units on the property. His performance reviews from 2013 through 2022 were consistently adequate. Completes assigned work orders on schedule. Residents report satisfaction with response times. Could improve written documentation of non-routine repairs. One formal complaint appeared in his file in 2017. A tenant alleged he had entered without the required 24-hour notice. Harborview HR marked it unsubstantiated. No further action. For 9 years, Dwayne Holt was exactly what Harborview needed him to be. Reliable, invisible, trusted. Then August 2022 arrived. His wife of 7 years, Tanya, filed for divorce in Guilford County District Court. She took their 2 daughters, ages 9 and 11, to her mother's house in High Point. Holt stayed in the rental house on Randleman Road. Rent, $13.40 a month. Court-ordered child support, $870. Take home after taxes and the support order, approximately $1,900. He sat at the kitchen table one night in September and ran the numbers 4 different ways. They came out the same every time. Harborview Crossing sits on 11 acres off Bridford Parkway in southwest Greensboro. 312 units across 6 buildings. Studios through 3 bedrooms, institutional carpet, white walls. Average occupancy, 94%. At any given time, roughly 290 occupied apartments housing nurses, students, retirees, young families, delivery drivers. Harborview Property Group managed 4 additional complexes across Guilford and Forsyth counties from a corporate office on Wendover Avenue. The maintenance request system worked like this. A tenant reported a problem through the Harborview online portal, by phone or by email. The request was logged in the Yardi Property Management Platform. Date, unit number, problem, assigned technician. The tenant received an automated confirmation. Entry window, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. the following business day. The technician received the work order on a company-issued tablet. If the tenant was away, the technician used the master key to enter, provided the active work order was on record. Yardi logged work order creation, assignment, and closure. What it did not log was the moment the master key entered the lock. It did not track how long a technician remained inside a unit. It generated no alert if a technician moved through rooms unrelated to the listed repair. The only account of what had happened inside a tenant's home was whatever the technician chose to write on the completed work order, and whatever he chose to sign his name to. At Harborview Crossing, one person held that master key for the duration of every shift. For 9 years, that person was Dwayne Holt. Every tenant who submitted a work order and left for their shift was making a quiet, unremarkable act of trust. They were agreeing to allow someone into their home, into their photographs, their closets, their countertops, the spaces where they kept the things they had worked for. The system assumed the person who walked through that door was there for one reason. For most of Dwayne Holt's 9 years, that assumption held. Then September 2022 came. September 14th, 2022, Unit 308. Keisha Fontaine was a travel nurse on contract at Cone Health, working 3-day stretches with 72-hour windows away from the apartment on a rotating schedule. A work order had been submitted for a leaking bathroom faucet. Holt signed in at 11:22 in the morning. He fixed the faucet. The work order was closed at 11:48, 26 minutes on record. 2 days later, Keisha noticed her grandmother's gold bangle bracelet was gone from the bathroom counter. She had left it there while packing for her shift, the way she always left it, because the counter was where she always put it. She searched her bag, her car, the gym locker at Cone Health. Then she called the leasing office. The manager logged a complaint under general tenant notes. No one pulled Holt's work order history. No one called him. No investigation of any kind was opened. Holt learned quickly what to take and what to leave. Cash from kitchen junk drawers and bedroom nightstands. The kind of money people keep in a spot and forget about until they need it, which means they question themselves before they question anyone else. Jewelry set out in the open, on bathroom counters, on dresser tops. Left without thinking because a person trusts the lock on their front door. Small electronics. Nothing that required a different bag. Nothing that announced itself. He moved through each unit the way he had always moved through units. Unhurried, familiar. A man who belonged in the space. He also began photographing items before taking them. A professional habit, he might have said. The way a contractor documents a site before starting. The justification held for a while. Then it stopped mattering. Over 19 months, 214 photographs accumulated on his personal Samsung Galaxy, each one time-stamped by the phone's own camera software. Unit numbers and tenant names coded to a contact's shorthand only he understood, a record he created, maintained, and carried in his back pocket every single day. By early 2023, the physical theft was no longer sufficient. He began submitting fraudulent work orders, repairs documented as completed, materials logged as installed, jobs either never performed or executed at a fraction of their documented cost. A $640 charge for a replaced garbage disposal in Unit 119. A $920 HVAC service and evaporator coil cleaning in Unit 247. A job the contracted HVAC vendor confirmed had not been performed on that unit since 2021. Parts ordered through the Harborview wholesale account, returned within 60 days to a personal Visa debit card. Between October 2022 and March 2025, 61 fraudulent work orders, $38,700 billed to Harborview Property Group. 3 separate tenants reported missing items to the leasing office between September 2022 and June 2023. Each complaint was entered as a general note in Yardy. 3 separate people received at least one of those notes. Not one connected the dots. In January 2024, the property manager who had logged 2 of the complaints transferred to a Harborview complex in Kernersville. Her replacement was Stephanie Gooch, 24, promoted from leasing agent, no prior management experience, and no reason to go looking through a complaint log that predated her arrival. No one connected the reports. No one audited the work orders. No one checked. February 2025, Unit 214. Darnisha Caldwell was a 34-year-old diagnostic imaging technician at Moses H. Cone Memorial Hospital on North Elm Street in Greensboro. She worked rotating 12-hour shifts and was away from her apartment for stretches of 13 to 15 hours, with a schedule that any patient maintenance worker could have pulled from the Yardy work order history in under 2 minutes. On February 11, 2025, Harborview pushed a complex-wide preventative maintenance notice, dryer vent inspections, all units, no tenant request required. A work order was auto-generated for Unit 214 and assigned to Holt. Darnisha was on shift. When she came home that evening, 2 things were gone from her kitchen counter: a rose gold watch her daughters had given her for Mother's Day, and $160 in cash she kept folded in a jar on the windowsill above the sink. She kept it there because she had always kept it there, in the way that people keep things in places they trust. She called the Guilford County non-emergency line. Deputy Felicia Ormond responded at 9:18 p.m. and took the report. Then she asked a question that had not yet occurred to anyone at the Harborview leasing office in 30 months. Has this happened before here? Do you know whether other tenants have had the same experience? Darnisha didn't know, but she posted in the Harborview Crossing Facebook group at 10:44 that night. Has anyone else had items go missing after a maintenance visit? Not accusing anyone, just asking. Within 48 hours, 11 residents responded. Dates, unit numbers, a Movado watch, pearl drop earrings from a grandmother's estate, an envelope of birthday cash, 2 AirPods cases, a Nintendo Switch left charging beside the couch. 11 people who had each assumed, individually, that they had simply misplaced something. Deputy Ormond forwarded the thread to the Guilford County Sheriff's Office, Criminal Investigations Division, on February 14th. On February 19th, Darnisha drove to Best Buy on Battleground Avenue and purchased a Wise Cam OG for $39.99. She positioned it on the bookshelf in her living room, angled toward the entry hall and the bedroom doorway, where her dresser was visible. Then she submitted a maintenance request, a dripping kitchen faucet, work order assigned to Holt, entry window, March 4th, 2025. She was on shift at Cone Health when the camera captured Holt walking through her front door, setting his toolbox on the kitchen floor, walking directly past the dripping faucet without slowing, and moving into the bedroom. She sent the footage to Deputy Ormond at 6:14 that evening. Ormond forwarded it to Criminal Investigations the same night. Detectives Shonda Briscoe and Paul Seliga were at Harborview Crossing by 10 the following morning. Search warrants were executed simultaneously on March 4th, 2025. Harborview Crossing and Holt's residence on Randleman Road. Time to activate the moment Holt entered Unit 214. At Randleman Road, investigators recovered a Ziploc bag containing 14 pieces of jewelry, an Amazon return box holding 2 AirPods cases, 3 Bluetooth speakers, and a Canon PowerShot camera. The serial number traced back to Unit 177, whose tenant had filed a missing camera report in December 2023. A shoebox on the bedroom closet shelf containing $3,400 in cash, rubber banded in denominations of 20s and 50s. Holt's personal Samsung Galaxy S23 was submitted to the GCSO Digital Crimes Unit for forensic extraction. The unit recovered 214 photographs. Cross-referencing the image metadata timestamps against Holt's Yardy work order history produced a match on every single entry. Every photograph had been taken during an active, assigned work order. 31 units, 19 months, including 11 units whose tenants had never reported anything missing and had no idea they had been targeted. He had documented every single one himself. Extracted from the same device was a text thread with a contact saved as B. Weston, identified as Byron Weston, 47, of Winston-Salem, with 2 prior receiving stolen property convictions. Got some pieces. Gold bangle, looks vintage. Pearl drop earrings. 1 diamond stud, might be missing its mate. Stud's hard to move alone. Bangle I'll do 110 if it tests real. Earrings 80. Bangle is real. Send the address again. Same spot on Akron. Don't come on a Friday. Got you. Byron Weston was separately charged with receiving stolen property across 3 counties. His cooperation with federal prosecutors identified 2 additional recipients in the chain. Holt's personal checking account at First Bancorp showed 27 cash deposits between October 2022 and February 2025, totaling $11,340, everyone made on a weekday, not one corresponding to a Harborview payroll date. His wholesale supplier account showed $38,700 in materials billed. Supplier records confirmed $21,400 in returns credited to his personal Visa debit card within 60 days of each corresponding purchase. Floyd Mays, formerly of Unit 309, gave investigators a recorded statement. In April 2023, following a work order for a broken window latch, a Movado watch his late father had given him after 30 years on the railroad disappeared from his dresser. Mays had not reported it. I figured I'd misplaced it, Mays said. I went through that apartment 4 times. I never once considered the maintenance man. You let that person into your home. You assume they're there for one reason. March 4th, 2025, 1:47 in the afternoon. Detectives Briscoe and Seliga had been parked in the Harborview maintenance bay since 9:40 that morning, watching Unit 214 on a live feed from Darnisha's Wise camera. They watched Holt badge into the property at 1:43. They watched him take the elevator to the 2nd floor. They watched him use the master key. At 1:47, he set the toolbox on the kitchen floor. He walked past the dripping faucet, the only reason the work order existed, without pausing. He moved through the living room. He entered the bedroom. He opened the top dresser drawer. Detective Briscoe came through the front door. Step away from the dresser, hands where I can see them. Whoa, hold on. I'm the maintenance man. I have a work order on my tablet. I can pull it up right now. We've already pulled the work order, Dwayne. Step away from the dresser. I was checking on the unit. That's standard. You can't just come in here. We have a warrant. Turn around. His eyes moved to the 2nd detective in the doorframe, then to the dresser behind him, then to the floor. I want to call somebody. You'll have that opportunity. He turned. He did not speak again on the walk to the elevator. His hands had already stopped moving before they reached the lobby. On May 2nd, 2025, a federal grand jury in the Middle District of North Carolina returned a 47-count indictment against Dwayne Curtis Holt. 31 counts of theft and receipt of stolen goods transported in interstate commerce under 18 U.S.C. Section 2315. 12 counts of wire fraud under 18 U.S.C. Section 1343. 4 counts of access device fraud tied to the fraudulent billing scheme. Guilford County filed 19 additional state counts of felony breaking and entering and felony larceny. Holt was held without bond at the Guilford County Detention Center on Merritt Drive. His defense attorney, federal defender Leonard Vasquez of Charlotte, argued that the photographs were taken as informal unit documentation, a personal habit, not criminal planning, and that the cash deposits represented unreported side work performed legally outside his Harborview employment. Vasquez filed a motion to suppress the phone extraction on Fourth Amendment grounds, arguing the forensics had exceeded the scope of the warrant. U.S. District Judge Caroline Mwangi denied the motion without reservation. Every photograph, timestamp, text message, and metadata match was admitted in full. Trial began October 6, 2025. 11 days. 32 witnesses, 19 tenants, Deputy Ormond, the Yardy Systems Administrator, the Digital Crimes Unit Forensic Analyst, and the Wholesale Suppliers Account Manager, who matched the return records to Holt's personal Visa card purchase by purchase. The jury deliberated for 6 hours and 20 minutes, guilty on all 47 federal counts. At sentencing, Keisha Fontaine read her victim impact statement directly to the court. My grandmother fastened that bracelet on my wrist the morning I graduated from nursing school. She passed 4 months later. When I try to picture her now, it is her hands I see first. Those hands put that bracelet on my wrist. There is no dollar amount and no sentence that gives that back. I want him to understand what he actually took when he walked into my bathroom that day. It was not jewelry. It was the last thing she ever gave me. Judge Mwangi addressed Holt directly before imposing sentence. Mr. Holt, you were issued a master key. The word master is not decorative. It reflects the level of trust that 312 households placed in you every time they left for work, for a hospital shift, for school, trusting that their home would be intact when they returned. You used that trust methodically, patiently, and without hesitation across 19 months and 31 separate homes. This court does not see a man who made a desperate mistake. It sees a man who identified an opportunity and built a system around exploiting it. This court sentences you to 51 months in federal custody, consecutive to the state sentence of 18 months, with full restitution of $133,000 payable to the 31 identified victims and to Harborview Property Group. Dwayne Curtis Holt was remanded to FCY Butner Medium 1 in Butner, North Carolina. Projected release, 2030. Tanya Holt was granted sole physical custody of their daughters. Gloria Holt makes the drive from Burlington to Butner once a month. She has not missed a visit. 14 Harborview tenants filed a joint civil lawsuit. The case settled for $280,000. In response, Harborview Property Group implemented new protocols across all 5 managed properties. Digital key fob systems replacing physical Medico master keys, automatic entry logging tied to real-time tenant text notifications, mandatory 2-technician entry for any unit accessed with the resident absent, and monthly third-party billing audits cross-referenced against vendor records. 312 households, 1 key, 19 months. And not one person inside the system ever asked the question a 34-year-old X-ray technician asked in a Facebook group at 10:44 on a Tuesday night. Has this happened to anyone else? Stories like this don't get the attention they deserve. If you want to see more accountability coverage, subscribe and hit the notification bell. We cover the cases that mainstream media ignores. What Dwayne did took years to uncover, but the case on your screen right now, it was hiding in plain sight the entire time.